Be sure to share, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on notifications by clicking on that bell icon. So John Solomon drops a bombshell, says that Russian oligarch Oleg Deripaska was visited by 3 FBI agents pitching the Trump-Russia collusion weeks before the 2016 election.
Now, in the last hour, you heard the Hill's John Solomon tell us about Special Counsel Bob Mueller's possible conflict of interest due to his ties to a Russian oligarch. John is now here with an even newer breaking series of developments that were just posted moments ago on the Hill. Nobody's heard this before. It's stunning stuff. John, what else should we know? I mean, I read through your piece about a half hour ago when it was posted. Now we find out that in September of 2016,
that's right,
Oleg Deripaska, who's this guy made out to be this big boogeyman by the political parties and by even our government on a sanctions list, he's visited by 3 FBI agents who want him to do what?
Yeah, it's great. So he's already been very helpful to the FBI. He spent $25 million of his own money trying to help them rescue one of their captured agents in Iran. So he has their trust. They bring him into the country because he had been banned from coming in by the State Department. They give him 8 or 10 passports to come in. And then it's 2 months before the election. He's asleep in his apartment in New York, and he gets a knock on the door by some of the same FBI agents that worked with him on the earlier operation. They said, "We think Trump's campaign and Russia are colluding on the election." And he lets out a big laugh.
Wait.
Yeah.
The agents say to a Russian billionaire.
Yes, close to Putin.
Supposedly close to Putin.
That's
I mean,
right.
all the billionaires know Putin.
True.
It's like all the billionaires in the United States know Trump, and all the politicians. Like they always say that's like not a big deal.
Right.
But they say to him, we have an idea or a theory that he's colluding through what? Paul Manafort? Paul
Manafort was the person they mentioned, they thought. And here's the funny part. Oleg Deripaska had a tortured relationship with Paul Manafort. He hired him as a political consultant, wasn't happy with that, gave him some money for an investment. Deripaska sued him. They had a falling out. He said he stole my money, took it into the United States. So the guy they go to is an enemy of Paul Manafort, and they say, well, can you help us prove that maybe Manafort's colluding with Putin to throw the whole election to Donald Trump? And he laughs. He breaks out in laughter saying it's preposterous. And he said, no, seriously, take this seriously. And no, I'm telling you, it's not true. I don't like the guy. Listen, I'd love to smear him. I'm telling you, there's no chance that Russia is using Paul Manafort to coordinate an election. And that's important for 2 reasons. It's 2 months before the election. It's before the FISA application. And here's someone that the FBI trusted previously to give them reliable information, spend his own money doing FBI work. And now they're telling him no collusion. Does the FISA court know this? I bet not, from what my reporting indicates.
So our viewers understand this. We have a situation where 3 FBI agents go to this Russian billionaire's apartment, who only can come to the United States because he's supposedly a bad guy, which by all indications, he was trying to help Bob Levinson get out of Iran, a 30-year veteran of the CIA who we left there. He tried to get him out 2 times, spent $25 million, as you said.
That's right.
Had a jet waiting on the tarmac, pulled back by the State Department for some weird reason. Hillary Clinton involved, Barack Obama involved, perhaps even the previous administration of that involved. They go to him and they say, we have a collusion idea. And he says, well, that's ridiculous. And they then say, keep an open mind, I understand.
That's exactly what they said. They're trying to keep them going. Keep an open mind. Let's stay in touch. And my reporting tonight indicates...
Oh, my God.
Yeah, let's stay in touch. Well, they've been in touch for quite a while.
Now, you have sources, strong sources for this reporting.
I do. It's including Deripaska himself is on the record, and his lawyer, as well as several FBI agents in the story. This is a story that's well-sourced.
I also understand that Deripaska offered to testify on Capitol Hill.
That's right.
I have 2 sources on this. Offered to testify, did not ask for immunity. It was reported by the New York Times falsely that he asked for immunity to testify. And also, I think someone in Congress also repeated that. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So what I know...
He did not ask for immunity. Why are they smearing this guy? It's like, why are they smearing this particular person? I mean, he's someone who spent $25 million to try to get that patriot Bob Levinson out of Iran.
Yeah, there's a black hat, white hat, black hat syndrome with him. He's a bad guy for a while, probably treated that way. Then he's a great guy, let him in the country, no problem. And then with the same evidence that's been there all this time, now he's suddenly a bad guy again.
But he's a good guy that they apparently want to use to push this collusion theory, which if he wanted to try to get off this sanctions list, maybe he could have said, Well, yeah. Oh, I'm sure Paul Manafort's colluding with some people, some agents, rogue agents in Russia. What can you give me? He didn't do that, correct?
No, he waved him off it in a hard way.
Okay. Yep. Let's bring into this discussion. This is unbelievable. It's like a John le Carré novel. Retired FBI Special Agent Tom Baker is here in Washington, and attorney Harmeet Dillon in San Francisco. Guys, these details are moving fast and furious. John Solomon has done some of the most important reporting on this case, on Mueller, on the FBI, for months now, and now this. Tom, I want to start with you. You knew Bob Levinson, going back to the first part of this narrative. You knew him. You worked with him when I think he was at Counterterror, and you were at the FBI. And now we hear more details on this Russian billionaire spending $25 billion. 2 times, he had a good handle on getting him out of the country twice, and he was waved off twice. And now they try to use him for the collusion nonsense. It's an outrage.
Well, yes, it is. It is. And what was an outrage in that was the way the whole thing was waved off. Bob Levinson, I crossed trails with him a couple of times when we were both involved in Russian organized crime. I happened to be at that time the legal attaché in Paris, where Oleg Deripaska often would stop by himself, actually. He spent a lot of time in Paris. But Levinson, we would try to do everything we could to get every part of the government moving on him. I was retired when he went missing. We got very little cooperation from the CIA and very little cooperation from the State Department, and the FBI had to reach out and do whatever they could themselves.
Now, why is the FBI, Harmeet, the FBI is actually doing the work to try to get the CIA guy out of Iran, reaching out, and again, I don't know if it's illegal or not, maybe, but working with this guy who had business interests in Iran, really rich, really connected, and I bet Deripaska wanted to know, why the heck am I being banned from coming to the United States? Show me the file. I'm such a bad guy. Show it to me. And he starts working with them. Like, again, motivations aside, right, that would have been a great thing to get him out of the country. State Department takes back the deal at the last moment on some seemingly spurious grounds. Go ahead.
Right. Well, what we have learned from Solomon's reporting is that, this was pulled off the table at the last minute because Hillary Clinton refused to say certain things that the Iranian government wanted said in order to point the finger away from them. And so, that said, this gentleman and most wealthy people in his position don't do things out of necessarily the goodness of their heart. There would have been an interest in it for him. And having good relations and ability to come and go from the United States is literally worth over $10 billion to his businesses. And so naturally, he wanted to help and do a good thing as long as it didn't blow back on the Russian government. And so he was assured of that. He did what he was asked. McCabe was one of the people who recruited him. Yeah, and then this is how he's thanked. Yeah. This is how he's thanked. He's now on, a sanctions list after, by the way, refusing to, quote unquote, keep an open mind when FBI agents visit him. How do you keep an open mind if you're asked, did a crime occur? I mean, keep an open mind about it? What does that mean? That is incredibly shady and suspect. But, now we have a second instance here, Laura, of clearly the Department of Justice and FBI not giving all the information to the FISA court, because this is what we would call exculpatory evidence in a criminal investigation, where you ask somebody, did Manafort collude with the Russians on behalf of the Trump investigation? Deripaska, who would know, said, absolutely not. Are you kidding me? I hate his guts. He's cheating me in a business deal, but he didn't do that. I am quite certain, as Solomon just said, that was not revealed to the FISA court, because if it were, a judge would take a second look at that. And now Manafort is fighting in court for evidence of whether this is, even covered by the Rosenstein authorization. Right. And Mueller has filed that information under seal. Again, I think the fact that this whole $25 million, you haven't even talked about the fact that the $25 million violates the Anti-Deficiency Act of our government, where the government's not allowed to take volunteer support from citizens if it's not authorized by Congress. Yeah. And so Mueller may be trying to cover that up because it is embarrassing to him that he violated the law.
We're going to...
Be sure to share, like, subscribe, and comment down below and tell me how you feel about this report. But other than that, I hope you guys have a great day. Let's make America great again. Peace.